at the 15. He's on his feet. 10, 5, touchdown.
The Jake Nulph Show.
Go Burrow.
Welcome to Charlie's Pub and Eatery for another episode of the Jake Nulph Show. Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake. Another week, another PSAC barn burner, depending on who you're rooting for. Certainly a great comeback or not a great finish. But, Coach, we just got to jump right to it. Make no bones about it. You know, the opportunity to win the football game, a lot of things that went to it, a lead late, a sizable lead late midway through the second half. Obviously, you know, we talk about playing a full 60 minutes. Had a lot of bounces, a lot of opportunities present themselves in the first half that you're able to take advantage of, and, you know, some, quite frankly, unlucky bounces in the second half that go Clarion's way, and that really adds to, you know, a very frustrating outcome last Saturday afternoon.
Well, yeah, and then, you know, the first things first, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and, you know, that's the uniform and the whole background on the uniform. You know, Joe, you are the voice of the Fighting Scots, and you do have your own opinion. I understand there was some social media exchanges between you and our commissioner. I don't share in your opinion, but that's what makes our country great. People can disagree. So
That's it.
The bottom line is, for us to wear our gray uniform, we had to notify Clarion. That's the conference rule. We didn't. They exercised their ability to penalize us. So we lost we get two 15-yard penalties to start each half, and we lost a timeout a quarter. That's 100% on me. I'm not going to sit here and blame somebody else. That's on me and my decision to wear the gray and not notify Clarion. So that's the uniform issue. It's nobody else's fault. It's not Steve Murray's fault. It's not Ray Monica's fault. It's Jake Nulph's fault. So I'll own that. I'll sleep in that bed. I made it. And, you know, at 28-9, it didn't seem like it was going to come back and bite us. Unfortunately, when you lose a timeout to start the third quarter and a timeout to start the fourth quarter, we didn't have two to burn at the end to potentially get our offense the ball back after the pick late in the game. So, as you mentioned, you know, we played really well for 45 minutes. Unfortunately, the last 15 minutes belonged to Clarion, and they win the game 29-28. There were a lot of things we did well. You know, to take a 7-0 lead, Zach Malpica, who you're going to talk to here in a little bit, made a tremendous forced a fumble, and Jermaine Atkins went 73 yards for a touchdown to get us up 7-0. And, you know, then we took a lead to go up 14 with Bo, touchdown Schwartz, who, you know, I believe he's got 7 touchdowns on the year. And, you know,
8 total. I think he's got a passing touchdown from last week.
So 8 total, and then
his touch per touchdown ratio is pretty good.
Yeah, and look, I can tell you this: Bo's continuing to add to his arsenal on offense. You know, we did some more things with him on Saturday. You know, we threw him a bubble. You know, we're
open with a vertical to Carlisle too.
You know, and the first play of the game, we flexed Matt out and tried to throw him a go ball. So, you know, that's the thing when you've got 3 quarterbacks and they all have talent. You know, we try to think of the best ways to get them on the field, and I think Coach White's done a tremendous job doing that.
Now, you talk about the lead, you know, and you built the lead with opportunities.
Yeah.
And the lead went away when the opportunities went the other way. Like you talk about, like, you know, you can control what you can control, but to have a punt hit somebody's helmet and the returner just catch it, or the Tegan Brown, I don't even know. I still don't know if it was an interception or a fumble, but all I know is
it was an interception because it never hit the ground.
But he had it, and next thing you know, it's flipped up in the air, and it's into a Clarion defenders.
He scissor kicked it, Joe. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's a great route. We got flushed. Isaac escapes the pocket. Tegan's climbing. He throws it to him. Their defender made an incredible play. I don't want to take away anything from Clarion, but. You know, Tegan reaches out. It's stripped, and as it's stripped, Tegan's flipping forward. You can't make this up. You guys can watch it. He kicks it coming through as he rolls, and he kicks
into the air,
and he kicks it to their defender. And honestly, so for those of you guys who didn't watch the game, it's 28-9. We start the fourth quarter with a plus 15-yard pass to Coburn to get us down to the plus 48. Now, at that time, we had all the momentum and we were rolling. So it's 1st and 10 from the plus 48. We're marching. and the turnover happened. And unfortunately, with the turnover, it was a one-play, 67-yard touchdown the other way that they converted on a vertical ball against our defense, and it got it to a 2-score game. Yeah. And then, look, guys, there's things that I'm in charge of. And, look, ultimately, like I said, this is our fault. It's my fault in particular, with the uniforms and then the clock management. We ran 6 plays to get – it's a 2-possession game, fourth quarter. We just let one get behind us, and we only ran 6 plays, and we punted. And those 6 plays only took 2:20 off the clock. Everyone in that situation, run the ball. Well, when they're giving you singles and leverage on the outside, Joe, and they're not letting you run the ball, I felt like we were moving it through the air pretty well. It's just unfortunate that a 2nd and 8, we drop a pass that is wide open, which, again, gets us into a 3rd and 2. And you talk about being ahead of the sticks. Well, then it's a 3rd and 8. And then they're controlling it, and then we have to punt. You mentioned the in the kicking game, it's funny. The ball is not round, and it does bounce in certain ways. We missed an opportunity earlier in the game on our first punt. It just nips CJ as he's covering it, and their punt returner goes to recover it, and he muffs it, and we get the ball back there, but we didn't because it hit CJ first.
Which, of course, is immediately dead.
Right?
Yeah.
The touchdown to get us up to 28, they muffed a punt again. CJ and Tristan get in his way. He makes a bad decision. Gage Galishka recovers it, and that's when we get the touchdown in the third quarter to put us up 28-9. I tell you what, that series, Joe, and there's a lot of things to be happy about. Jerry Dinkins runs a play to our left. It's just a simple outside zone, and he's stopped for 6 yards. Our offensive line, receivers, tight ends, heck, I think Isaac even tried to get in the mix. We pushed the
I think it ended
POW.
up being 17.
Yeah. We pushed the POW ahead for another 10-11. It was that's the play where you're like, yeah, we were feeling it. That willed us to get inside the red zone, and then we run a simple run play. Ziggy wraps it back all the way for a touchdown. We go up 21-9. Defensively, we were holding serve. There was just some things in that game where we had all the momentum in the world, and we just didn't close the door. Clarion, obviously, they didn't just open it. They kicked it in the fourth quarter, and they ended up getting all of the momentum plays, and they beat us. Hats off to Clarion and their staff. It's unfortunate. We end up losing the game by 1.
Now, I got to ask, because you won the Robert Morris game with Karan Robinson being a bell cow back. What in terms of the fourth quarter, the running back rotation, injuries, personnel, what sort of led to that?
I just think Karan wasn't available. It was an injury situation where, he just wasn't available for us in the fourth quarter. Neither was Jerry Dinkins, who got rolled up on. So, we have a deep running back room, whether it's Jerry, Karan, Angelo Bartolini, or Ziggy Thomas. All 4 of those guys have the ability to make plays for us. And, down the stretch, it was Ziggy and Bart that were getting the primary of the carries there late in the fourth, into the fourth quarter because they were available.
Certainly, when you look at it and you've had some time to digest on the film, the ability to protect Isaac, I think you're really starting to see some things. And again, the interception I don't think was his fault. Obviously, the one was certainly not. That was a weird play. But
yeah, you're talking about the Teagan one, but the one at the end of the game, right? You want me to walk you through that?
If you could.
Yeah. So look, there's a lot of things that happened in that football game, and we just didn't seize the opportunity. Clarion did, we didn't. So we had an opportunity to. They score to go up 29-28, and they get a personal foul call for taunting. So they're going to kick from the 20-yard line, right? And we held them we stopped the 2-point play. It was I believe it was Corey and Diaz.
Yeah, I think
it tracks. They again. Before I get into that, their quarterback, number 8, kid's a player. He's a warrior. Made a ton of plays in the run game and the pass game. He's a good football player. Hats off to him. But we have an opportunity with a lot of time on the clock. They're kicking from the 20-yard line. We dial up a return that is something we've been working on since the beginning of camp, and our kick returner just doesn't catch the football, Joe. And, we line him up on the 10. He hits a hot line drive to the 13. We don't catch it. We pause the tape today. They're not even across midfield when we have an opportunity to catch the football there. So you want to talk about all of these plays, and we're down one. All we need is a field goal. We messed it up in the kicking game. If we catch the football there, at minimal, we're out to the 35-yard line. I think we're closer to midfield. They capitalized. We didn't. So now we got to start the ball inside the 25 for a drive where they've been kicking touchbacks. On a normal position, we get the ball at the 25. We start at the 22 where we've got to drive the length of the field. We get it to the plus 40, and on 3rd and 10, we get jammed up out of bounds. Isaac gets flushed. He, if you talk to him, he wants to throw back. He tries to force something on 3rd down where we tell him to run or throw it out of bounds, give us a chance on 4th down. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and that's your ball game.
Well, certainly we will look forward to – you mentioned Gershio, a guy that chased him around all afternoon. Zach Malpica will join us when we come back. It's the Jake Nulph Show, live from Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake. Zach Malpica when we come back.
At the 15, he's on his feet. 10, 5, touchdown!
The Jake Nulph Show.
Go Burrow.
Welcome back to the Jake Nulph Show, live at Charlie's Pub and Eatery. Zach Malpica joining us, forced the fumble that Jermaine Atkins returned 73 yards for a touchdown, the first fumble return for a touchdown since 2021. Zach, I got to ask you, and Fredo's sitting there. I could feel your frustration. It felt like you're not old enough to remember Tom and Jerry, but you guys chasing Gershio around where the target just kept moving. You were so many instances where it was a fingertip away. And I remember one time, Hartung says Spiegel he grabbed them with the clubbed hand. He should have grabbed them with the open hand. It just always felt like it was just a bit out of reach. How frustrating was that as the game wore on?
He was pretty athletic. Had a good pocket presence. We were doing a lot of stuff. We're moving him around in the pocket, and we were disrupting the pocket. But he was making plays. We got to him a couple times. We got to him a few times, but we obviously wish we got to him a little bit more.
Yeah, certainly his elusiveness. Obviously, the difference in the ball game. Never mind anything else. When they came back, he was starting to make big plays, lots of big plays on the move, some good quality throws on the move. The one thing that I was sort of impressed with, what changed, because it felt like in the first half you really had them hemmed in, and you stopped their running game pretty much in general. But what was the biggest difference in your mind that changed for him to get some more mobility in the second half?
Well, first off, they run a certain type of offense. It's a bit different than other offenses. It's like they have jet motion a lot, and they like running jet sweeps and a lot of misdirection with options and whatnot. And we really shut them down in the first half, so they had to kind of get out of that offense. It went to more of like a spread offense where they're letting the ball loose a little bit, and we had a lot of 3-down rushes. So there was some open lanes that he could step up in. He was just making plays. We were pressing the pocket a lot. I feel like we just got them out of their offense, and they just started succeeding in their backup offense, I guess, in the spread.
Now, the other thing, you mentioned the 3-man front. I feel like you played most of the game with just a 3-man front. Was that a personnel, or Coach Papley just thought that maybe you get a little more speed in the back end? Is that what the decision was?
We saw in some other games that the 3-down was working a lot. We were doing a lot of stemming. We were moving a lot, cutting the front. We're sending blitzes too. We brought in some heavier guys up front to do the 3-man. We just thought it was good for our personnel, so we have some guys fly around on the perimeter, push it to the edge. and make tackles on the edge.
And really, I think that was probably the biggest difference, first half to second half. They didn't have really any chunk plays to speak of.
Yeah.
But then, sort of that momentum going downhill, and they had the advantage in the plus 12, plus 15 game.
Yeah, they did.
When you look at now, you've got Gannon on the horizon, obviously a bigger game on. I don't know if they're. I think pretty much when you're in a league, all the games are rivalry games. But obviously Gannon, geography-wise is a big deal. And I guess now with Mercyhurst going, maybe they need a new rival, with close proximity. But how important is it going to be to just get back to the basics and have a solid week of practice and get ready to play football at noon on Saturday?
It's crucial. Myself and the team including, doesn't matter who we play. It's about us. It truly is. I know deep down as a unit, if we succeed, if we do our job each play, nobody can mess with us.
Zach Malpica, kind enough to join us here on the Jake Nulph Show. We're live from Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past Lake. Coach Nulph will join us to talk about those Gannon Gold Knights when we come back.
At the 15, he's on his feet. 10, 5, touchdown!
The Jake Nulph Show.
Edinboro.
Welcome back to the Jake Nulph Show, Route 99, just past the lake. Here we are at Charlie's Pub and Eatery. Turn the page, the Gannon Golden Knights. Obviously, the geography's neat. It's a short trip.
Yeah.
It's a good rival. It's actually a pretty good rivalry in all of the sports. Now, I was talking to Zach about, I don't know, is there, I guess there is a rival, but I don't know if Gannon's not been around long enough for there to be a rivalry. They're still pretty new to the league. You talk about a rivalry, you go back decades. Obviously IUP and Edinboro have some great ones from back in the 60s and the 70s. But does the geography of it add to it?
Yeah, I think that anytime you're so geographically close, it adds to it. I just know from my playing days at Robert Morris, Duquesne was the natural rival because it was the Steel City Showdown. And then, you get St. Francis in there because in that league, those are really the only three close teams because everybody else. And that's the nice thing with the PSAC is you got a lot of close games. Not many that are 20 minutes down the road, though.
No.
So, yeah, this is the Battle of Erie, and this is a good football team. Their record is not any indication of what they are. We have some very similar opponents in East Stroudsburg and Kutztown and Slippery Rock, and they've played Cal, we've played IUP. So, we haven't beaten Gannon since I've been here, Joe. And I think Eric does a great job. He runs a really good program. His fingerprints are all over the offense. There's some strong similarities. I know coordinators for them come and go, but it's his offense. And defensively, they've always been really stout. They got a ton of transfers on their football team, so they've reloaded. They got a ton of older guys in the secondary, on defense, up front, in the linebacker room, at receiver. I really like their quarterback. I think he's very dynamic. He's a coach's kid, so he loves ball. He's a dual threat guy, and that's where we're going to have to account for him in the run game and the pass game. They got a plethora of receivers on the perimeter. They play a lot of different running backs. Their O-line's big. They're physical. They've had a bye to get ready for us. So I know this is a game they have circled on their schedule. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff at Sox Harrison Stadium. We've got to get over Clarion, and we got to get ready. We started tonight, Joe. We had a very spirited practice in Shells on Monday. It's going to take all three phases on Saturday to get after it and, get back up off the ground and compete.
Now, just out of curiosity's sake, because we talked so much about this, the bye, and you were a big proponent of it. Yeah. Now, the shoe's on the other foot, though. It feels like now everybody you play all of a sudden is coming off of a bye.
That's right.
Does that matter?
Yeah, it matters. But look, I don't control the schedule. You line them up. That's the reality of the situation. Three of our last four opponents are coming off a bye playing us. It is what it is. That's the hand that we're dealt. We're going to play it. it's unfortunate, but hey.
Obviously, it was like when literally like there was a team that left the schedule. It was just the way that. I mean, it's not that
we follow Mercyhurst a lot.
That's just
right?
the nature of the beast. But
it worked out in our favor for IUP. Look, then Clarion had a bye. Boom, Gannon has a bye. So it is what it is. I don't know what they do on their bye week though. That's the thing where. I know how we handled our bye. Everybody's different. So, they've got 2 weeks to get ready for us. They'll be prepared. It's a rivalry, as you mentioned. We're 0-3 against Gannon since I've gotten here. We've been in 2 of the 3 games where, one possession type of football games where we, came up short. If you've looked at our schedule, we've been in a lot of tight football games. And, unfortunately, I believe we're 2-3 in one possession games. We've got to get on the other side of that. So I expect nothing else on Saturday. They're going to be ready to play. We've got to have a great week in practice in our preparation and get ready for Saturday at noon.
Got to give the people what they want. 2 reasons you win, 2 reasons you lose.
It always goes back to this. I think it's going to be turnovers. We were 3 for 3. We gave it away 3 times. We took it away 3 times on Saturday. You can't do that. Even if we give it away once, we'd be +2 in the possession error. Look how close it was on Saturday. And then big plays are such a huge benefit. We got big played out of the gym in the 4th quarter on Saturday, and that can't happen. And Gannon on offense has the ability to big play you. We can't allow that to happen, and we've got to it's nice when we hit some big plays. I think of the 38-yard pass to Coburn on Saturday, which set up our touchdown to put us up 28. We've got to have the ability on offense to big play them, and I honestly, penalties, turnovers and big plays is going to be the tell of the tape on Saturday.
We'll certainly look forward to it. Noon kickoff at Sox Harris. It'll be 11 o'clock airtime on the Fighting Scots radio network, presented by ErieInjury.com. Thanks to everybody here at Charlie's Pub and Eatery who comes out each and every Monday night for the Jake Nulph Show. We will do it again next week. And, Coach?
Go Burrow.
We'll talk to you on the radio at noon, kickoff, 11 o'clock pregame show. Thanks for joining us for the Jake Nulph Show, live from Charlie's Pub and Eatery, Route 99, just past the lake.
At the 15, he's on his feet, 10, 5, touchdown!
The Jake Nulph Show.
Go Burrow.